So Nancy Pelosi recently said in an interview with Wolf Blitzer that Republicans, in fact, are to blame for failing to fund security in Libya. You had a chance to ask just that question today. Tell me what happened.
Well, of course, Ms. Lamb, who is representing the State Department, was the one who made the actual decision as to the allocation of funds for the security purposes there in Benghazi. And it was clear from her testimony that this was not a budget decision on her part. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody got that message, because the Democrats, trying to play politics with it, were saying, just like Nancy Pelosi, oh, this must be because of Republican budget cuts. And Ms. Lamb said, did this have, was budget any factor at all in this decision? And it was not. And she thought there were other ways to handle this, letting local people take over the different responsibilities. And she thought that was the better way. But it was not the better way, obviously.
Congressman Buck Sexton here. I want to ask you, here we are a month later, and we're finally getting confirmation of what we, of course, knew in the first days, that this was a above platoon size in terms of the numbers. Probably a militia on the march decided to completely overrun and burn out a U.S. facility. Now, they also were saying in the early days of the administration that they were going to find and hold accountable the people that were involved in this. So far, we've heard of a smattering of arrests here and there. There's been very little about this since then. Given it's taken a month for them to even understand what happened, or rather, I should say, to come clean with the American public about what happened, do you have any confidence that they're actually going to be able to find these individuals? Because obviously, this is a very organized and dangerous group that was able to execute a complex attack against a U.S. facility.
Well, we can't count on this administration because they started out with the big lie. The big lie was it wasn't radical Islamic terrorist. It was some filmmaker who got people angry. And in fact, they even had the Justice Department go after the filmmaker and arrest the filmmaker. Remember? Because they got him on something else, but they went out to get him. So how can you trust the administration when day after day it became clear that that was not the case? There had never been a demonstration there in Benghazi against the film. This was truckloads of actually organized forces coming in to commit this murder of our diplomats. So no, you can't trust the administration is going to be doing the right thing when they lie to the people this way.
Hey, Congressman, this is Will Cain. So I just want to underline two details you just laid out for us there. Not only do we know this wasn't a response to a video, we know there was no response. That hours before this attack, there was no protest. There was no street full of people upset about a video whatsoever.
Right, correct.
Leading to this question, what you described as the big lie. What is the motivation for the administration? Why would they have come out and so repetitively said that on the Sunday show talk circuit? Why would Susan Rice have said this over and over?
Yeah, and even after they knew that it wasn't, there was our ambassador to the United Nations still proceeding to say this lie, and of course destroying her credibility in the meantime. Why is that? It's because this administration is trying to cover up its basic nature. Its basic nature, it's the face that's hidden behind the mask, are people who are, let's say, they make excuses for radical Islam. They blame the United States for most of America's problems, including our problems with radical Islam. So they want to, someone starts murdering people. Oh, well, they don't want to blame those terrorists. Let's blame it on the radical Muslims. And that's their inclination. What they've been trying to do is hide that from the American people. They don't, we've got people in power now who are supposed to be protecting us, whose inclination is to blame America for the problems that we've had overseas.
Wait, so Congressman, let me just be clear. You don't think this is an issue of wanting to save face, and you don't think this is an issue of sort of trying to politicize this issue in favor of Obama's reelection. You think this speaks more to a deeper, fundamental philosophy within the administration about the nature of terrorism?
I think that the nature of what we face as a people and who we are, we have a president of the United States who spent his first time, what did he do? Early in his office, he went on an apology tour. Why? Because he thinks the United States is responsible for the ill will against us from these radicals. This is the man who has an inclination not to blame radicals and people who are hurting us, but they wants to throw it on a filmmaker who is just exercising his constitutional rights. What they're doing is trying to protect the American people from understanding where they're coming from, because nobody in the United States is going to put up with that.
Okay, well.